everybody. I want to welcome you to the first ever Walk Talk. My name is Evan Cook, and I'm sitting here with Don Hoym. And we want to talk to you a little bit about, what Walk Talk is and who we are. And Walk Talk kind of came to fruition as, Don and I are both marketing chairs with the Walk to End Alzheimer's. And we thought, especially with all the craziness that's going on, we figured what a great opportunity for us to get some more information out there via a podcast web show. And Don, here, why don't you take a minute here and talk a little bit about yourself? I'll do the same, and we'll go a little bit more in depth on what we're about.
First of all, Evan, you say we're sitting here. Obviously, we're not here together because nobody's here together right now. I think that's part of the reason we got to where we did with Walk Talk, knowing that everybody's doing life a little bit differently. Right now, things look different. We've all got a little more time on our hands. And for those people that are dealing with Alzheimer's, that are caring for a loved one with Alzheimer's, that extra time on their hands isn't necessarily a good thing. We know it can be a struggle. So we started talking about this forum and could we do something with it and maybe provide a resource for families out there. And Evan did a really great thing on day one. He said, what is our mission? What is the purpose of this? In the intro, you might have seen, for those of you who are watching this on video, our motto is strengthening our Alzheimer's community through growth and laughter. So we hope this is a place where you can come and learn, but it's also a place that we hope can be a little lighthearted and you can laugh a little bit, because none of us have enough of that in our lives right now. And if you are at home in the midst of all this with someone with Alzheimer's, you definitely need that ray of sunshine. So it's been great. It's been great because there's a community of people who are walking the same journey, but it's also a group of people like you, Evan. I mean, you don't necessarily have a direct connection to this personally, but you got involved. And I think it's great that there are people like you that want to come alongside these families in these difficult times. So
right, yeah, and honestly, I mean, take it from me, who's someone has zero experience and just jumping right into this. It's a great community. Everybody's super welcoming. I mean, it's fantastic. So, don't be nervous. Don't be hesitant, whatever. It's fantastic. Just bring your skill set, get involved, and just have fun. I mean, that's what we're trying to do here is have a good time with us too, and get some great information out and help people understand and just help people in general.
So the money raised every year by the Alzheimer's Association goes to support a lot of research. It also goes to support programs that helps caregivers and people who work in senior communities. And so that's part of what Walk Talk is really all about. That's the why behind Walk Talk, is to foster that sense of community, to help everyone out there who's watching realize you're not alone. A lot of us have been through this struggle. And so we're just here to talk about ways to support one another. And we have a great guest to help us do that today. We have Sarah Limbaria. She's the program coordinator for the Alzheimer's Association Michigan chapter. Sarah, thanks so much for taking some time out to join us today.
Hey, thanks so much for having me. Excited to be here.
Sarah, give us a little background on you, what got you into maybe, personal connection, that kind of thing.
Yeah. So my name's Sarah, and I'm the program coordinator for the West Michigan region of the Alzheimer's Association. I've been with the association for about a year now, just over a year, and I had, been really felt connected to the association for a long time and had been looking for a position within the association because my grandfather actually had Alzheimer's disease. So it was very close to him growing up. And about 10 years ago, we noticed that there were some changes happening. And, we weren't sure at first what was going on, but then he got a diagnosis of Alzheimer's and we kind of began our journey as a family. We actually didn't have some of the resources or know about some of the resources that were available through the association. And I just think if we did, how different that would have been, watching my grandmother be a caregiver for him and watching my mother help as a secondary caregiver. I think had we known about some of the things, like some of the support groups and education, it would have made the journey feel a lot less lonely and a lot less challenging. So when I learned about that after he passed away, I thought that's something I would love to be involved in. And I have a background in public health. That's what I have my master's in. And we know that, more and more people are being affected by dementia. We have 190,000 Michiganders living with the disease. And we know that's only continuing to increase. So I feel very lucky to be able to take my professional passion and my personal passion as well and combine them in what I do every day.
That's great. Can you tell us a little bit about Right now with COVID-19, we know that it affects older adults. It affects them physically, but also the sort of isolation that everybody's feeling, it also impacts them that way. Can you talk a little bit about what resources you have out there for caregivers who maybe feel like they are alone right now?
Absolutely. Well, we know that caregiving can be challenging at times, no matter when you're caregiving, but especially in light of this pandemic, we're really just facing sort of an unprecedented situation. So we have a number of resources that we've developed specifically for caregivers. One is that we have moved some of our in-person programming to online. So our support groups are now available over the telephone, or we have dial-in support groups where you can just, dial in like a conference call from your home. And we also have virtual support groups. So you can join on a web conversation just like you and I are right now and dial in that way. And we also have Caring During COVID resource on our website. So you can click on that link and it gives tips for caregivers during COVID. And it talks about what to do if your loved one is in a long-term care facility and maybe you can't visit them the way you're used to, how to work with the facility staff and make sure that you're still getting updates and able to communicate with your loved one. We also have tips about what to do if you're caring at home, how to maintain hygiene and kind of addressing some of those additional challenges that caregivers are feeling at this time. And then we also have some ideas for what to do with your loved one if you are at home right now during the stay-at-home order. So we know that, as you're caring for someone, sometimes it can be a little tough when you don't have help with daily activities. So in addition to those tips for caregiving, we also have activity ideas.
So yeah, hey, we're just going to take a quick break here, talk a little bit more about the walk and what this is all about. So we'll be right back.
The Walk to End Alzheimer's is the world's largest event to raise awareness and funds for care, support, and research for those with Alzheimer's and other forms of dementia. So no matter how you roll or stroll, we want you to join us. For more information and to register, go to act.alz.org or text ALZWalk to 51555. We'll see you at the walk.
Welcome back, everybody. Let's get back into it with Sarah. And for those of us who are new to the cause and have zero experience in any of this, how do I start? How do I start getting involved? Where do I go? Who do I talk to? What do I do? I mean, there's a ton of information out there, which is great, but how do I start to navigate it?
I would say our website is always a good first landing spot. If you're not sure what you're looking for, but just want to kind of see what's available and get some information, you're also welcome to call our office. I talk to people all the time in our area who just, hey, my mom just got a diagnosis. This is really new. We're kind of reeling. Where do we go from here? What should I consider? I don't know what I don't know yet. So we're happy to kind of not only direct people to resources that we have, whether that be education groups or support groups, but also point them in the other directions if we know of an agency or other resources in the area that they might check out. So I'd say our website or calling our office are two great places to start. There's also the helpline, which I mentioned, and we have something called the Community Resource Finder, and that is available, again, nationwide, and people can go online, put in their zip code, and find education programs by them, but also other resources, including, medical providers or other types of, care, respite, that sort of thing.
Gotcha. Okay, great. Yeah, and let's say I do end up finding a support group that I really like. How do I go about joining?
Yeah, so with our groups, when they're in person, we always publish that information online. We share that in our local newspaper. We have that on our website. I'm always happy to send people the list too if they, directly, if you're having trouble finding it and want to give me a call. But since, we've kind of entered the pandemic, what we're doing is we've moved the groups virtually. So if you call our office or call the helpline, they can get you that number to dial in.
And when you say go virtually, is there anything special I need, like, I guess, equipment-wise or anything that I would need to join?
That's a great question. The nice thing about our virtual support groups is you can join through a computer and a webcam, so the way you and I are today. But if you don't have that, you can also just call in using your phone, so either a cell phone or a landline.
Now, for those of us who are looking for, it sounds like you have a lot of great, major programs. For those of us who want to try to find something a little bit more local, how do we go about finding local programs?
That's a great question. So we have a list of local programs that's updated in real time, available on our website. So typically, if you go to alz.org, outside of the pandemic, you would find a list of programs specifically here in West Michigan. Given the current circumstances, we want to be responsive and flexible in how we're offering programming. So what we've done is we've created a virtual programs list available statewide. But it's still local staff helping out with those. So we're working as a team across the state to not only give those presentations, but help respond to the chat, promote them. So in terms of local programs, if you go on alz.org/GMC, that's our state's website, you'll find that list of virtual programs that local staff are working on.
Well, thank you so much for joining us, Sarah. You gave us some amazing information, especially for our first show. And I know we hit kind of high level what a lot of these programs are. So we're definitely going to have you back, talk a little bit more detail, get a little bit more in the weeds about what these programs and these support groups are all about. For everybody watching, if you have any questions for Sarah about the programs, anything specifically for us, please reach out to us at Walk Talk Alz. That's Walk Talk ALZ. at gmail.com for any of the questions that you have. So I'm going to go ahead and throw it over to Dawn here to end out the show.
All right. Thanks, Evan. So for those of you who are a little older like myself, you may remember there used to be this show on called American Top 40 on the radio, and a wonderful announcer named Casey Kasem. He was the Ryan Seacrest of his day. For those of you who are maybe a little bit younger and don't know who the Casey Kasem reference is, you probably know him as Shaggy from Scooby-Doo. He was the voice of Shaggy from Scooby-Doo. But American Top 40 was the only way we got to hear our favorite songs. We couldn't Spotify or anything like that. So Casey would count them down. But he always took a break in the middle of the show to do what he called a long-distance dedication, which was where he would tug on the heartstrings and somebody would write in and request a song that was dedicated to somebody else who they were apart from. So sort of in honor of Casey and in memory of Casey, we thought it would be a nice way to end our shows by having our own version of the long distance dedication. So our first one today is actually a long distance dedication from my sister to her father. And I'm going to have Evan read what my sister wrote because I don't want to ugly cry on our first show. You guys don't need to see that. We'd actually like for you to come back and visit us again at some point. So, Evan, I'll let you take it from here.
So Denise writes, my father died of Alzheimer's in December 2014 at the age of 79. As he declined steadily in the preceding years, a song that came to really resonate with me was Landslide by Stevie Nicks. Before she begins singing, she says on the recording, "This is for you, Daddy." She then goes on to sing, "I've been afraid of changing because I built my life around you. But time makes you bolder, even children get older, and I'm getting older too. Can I handle the seasons of my life? I don't know. While this song usually leaves me with tears in my eyes, it was a powerful and positive affirmation that I wasn't alone in saying goodbye to my dad." And this really resonates with us here at Walk Talk, so we thought this was a perfect one to include in our first show. So Denise, here's your long distance dedication.
What is love? Can the child within my heart rise above? And can I sail through